Well, in France, a trial resumes over the gruesome murder of a French teacher in 2020. 8 people face terrorism charges for his killing. The slain teacher, Samuel Paty, had shown his pupils a caricature of the Prophet Muhammad as part of a class on the freedom of expression. His killing erupted a debate over many issues here in France. The trial comes a year after 6 teenagers were found guilty of helping the assailant identify Paty. Our reporter, Claire Paccalin, is standing by, and we can speak to her now. Hello to you, Claire. What's happening in the case this afternoon?
So this afternoon we'll be hearing from family members of Samuel Paty. We expect to hear from his mother, from 2 sisters, and his former partner. He has a son who is now 9 years old with his former partner. They were separated at the moment when he was murdered. And Samuel Paty's family members in this case are called civil parties, so they are seen as victims in the judicial sense of the term. And their role here in this case is to explain the impact Samuel Paty's murder has had in their lives. And it's very common, in fact, it's every time now we've had French terrorism cases taking place in the courtroom just behind me. So the November 13th attack, a case that took place in the courtroom behind me. The civil parties were a very big, significant presence, and their role is to explain the impact this attack had in their lives. It's important to remember it all happened very, very fast. Samuel Paty, a middle school teacher, gave a class on freedom of speech. 11 days later, just 11 days later, in October 2020, he was beheaded in the streets by an Islamist extremist.
Yeah, and in this case, raising issues over the way France practices secularism, sparking a debate on many other fronts as well. Can you give us more context about this case?
Certainly, it all started with a lie that a teenage girl told her father. She said that she had been in a civics class with Samuel Paty and that she had stood up to him when he was showing images, caricatures of the Prophet Muhammad, and that he had then sent her out of class. Now, in actual fact, she wasn't in class that day at all. She had been suspended from school for truancy. But she told this lie to her father. He then went online, videoed himself complaining about the teacher, saying that he was a thug teacher, and it spiraled out of control from there on. It went beyond the walls of the school. Other figures got involved online, and a hate campaign began around Samuel Paty. It got into the eyes and ears of an Islamic extremist, Abdullah Anzorov, an 18-year-old Russian of Chechen origin, who drove to the town Conflans just outside Paris 11 days after that lesson took place, and he beheaded Samuel Paty in the streets. He was killed by police a few minutes later. So this is what's important to remember, is that this online hate campaign, it spiraled out of control, but in actual fact the lesson Samuel Paty was teaching was about the dilemmas around freedom of speech. He was trying to encourage his pupils to think about the dilemmas around freedom of speech. The Prophet Muhammad, caricatures of the Prophet Muhammad, are offensive to many Muslims, and Samuel Paty was trying to get his pupils to think about that. But this online hate campaign spiraled out of control, and within 11 days of that civics lesson, Samuel Paty had been murdered.
All right, Claire, thank you very much. Claire Paccalin reporting.